When did you
Think I
start
should.
eating raw beef?
In 2021, whenever I was dying of an autoimmune disease, I started eating it raw.
And by dying, what do you mean?
I had no quality of life whatsoever. Like I didn't get a dying diagnosis, but I couldn't kneel down from standing position. I could barely get around. I was sleeping 23 hours a day. Like I had if I was going to drive somewhere and it was going to be more than 15 minutes, I would have to pull over and sleep on the side of the road just to get there. Yeah, I had burning, like my limbs, I couldn't put my arm out in front of me like this. It would be like this because it was just burning, limbs burning constantly all the time. Like I was on fire. And doctors were just like, we don't know.
Did that
Seems fine.
slowly come on? Is it like symptoms started to show up, things started to get worse?
Yeah, it got probably the worst. It's the worst ever in like 2020 probably. But I've seen the signs of it like my whole life pretty much, not being able to pay attention, falling asleep in school and stuff like that, but it just progressively got worse my whole entire life. And then it was like all the mental stuff as well, all at the same time.
Did anyone in your family have autoimmune diseases, or do you just pop this out randomly?
No, I don't think so, no. I don't think so. It was all like I kind of like suffered like in silence my whole life, so I never really like told them that I was going through stuff. But then once I was out in LA for a decade by myself, and it just like it started getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and it was really fucking bad. Yeah.
So tell us more about the diet that fixed it.
So I couldn't like get up, and I couldn't get up. I couldn't think and work. Thankfully, I was just like working from home. Because otherwise I had to get somebody, I was living in New York at the time, and I had to get somebody to come to my house. I paid them to come walk my dogs around the block because I couldn't do it myself. And, I got to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I went to so many doctors, they didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't ever get a diagnosis of this, but a lot of the symptoms were MS, very, very on brand with MS. I had pretty much all the symptoms other than like a scan of like a brain lesion scan or whatever, which I don't know if I would have had that if I would have gotten one or not. But
did they say that to you? It must have been kind of scary.
No, they didn't know.
Or you were just you were coming to that conclusion?
Yeah, at that point it was difficult to even like make phone calls and stuff when you're that sick,
Shit.
and you're that mentally sick. Like I had a lot of the symptoms of like schizophrenia and shit like that too. I was going out of my mind. It was insane. And I was looking at like getting into like inpatient treatment and stuff like that, but I was like poor, and I was on like government health insurance where you like wait 6 months to see someone. And I kept going to the doctor, and they'd take vials and vials and vials of blood, and they'd just be like, seems okay. And then they just send me out the door. And finally I was like, and it would take me so much energy even to just go to the doctor because I could barely get around, that finally I was like, I'm going to have to figure this out myself. Like they're not doing anything for me. And then I just like laid on my back basically and listened to I found out about Michaela Peterson's story, and she cited like Sean Baker and those people. And Sean Baker was the first one. And at the time, his podcast was called Rivero. And now I think it's called Meet RX maybe, or Dr. Sean Baker podcast. Anyway, I started listening to that. I would just like lay on my back and listen to that for like 10 hours a day. It was just like a story after a story after a story of these people who went carnivore and healed everything. I mean, there was even a guy who like, they said you're in a wheelchair forever, and he went carnivore and he's out of the wheelchair now after like a lot of physical therapy and stuff like that as well. Like stuff that I never even dreamed could possibly be cured. And so I just immediately did it as soon as I heard about it. And it took about 3.5 weeks, and then I had a 75%. I have my symptoms. I mean, I could talk about them for 3 hours. This list is this long, but yeah, I did it for in 3 weeks. I had like a 75% symptom drop off. Wow. And then after that, it was all gone. And I was on a bunch of Adderall. The only thing that helped me stay awake was Adderall. I could only like it would allow me to be awake for like a couple hours a day just to like get basic stuff done, like feed myself and walk my dog sometimes if I could. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like no quality of life.
Yeah, none. It was terrible. It's weird. honestly weird thinking about now because I'm so like healthy and have so much energy and stuff. It's so weird to like even like I saw a video of me the other day like crying and talking about how if I were to get better that I would like never shut the fuck up about it. And that's like exactly who
Here you
I
are.
became. Yeah. That's exactly what I did. I never shut the fuck up about it now. But it's weird to even I don't even identify with who that person was. It's so crazy to me now.
So when people say carnivore diet, I think there's some variation in that. What was your carnivore diet exactly?
Mine was just meat.
Like strictly only meat,
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah, I got like because I mean, some people are like the people in my comment section are curious about the diet. Like, how do you do it? How do you have the willpower to eat just me? And I was like, I couldn't get up. Like, once you get to, it depends on how much you're suffering.
Mhm.
So I didn't want to cheat at all because I was suffering so badly. So I like went to, thankfully I had like a decent amount of money at the time and I went to like a local butcher and I got like bone marrow and I got a big thing of like visceral fat from a cow and I like rendered it down. I had like the little balls of fat and stuff like that I would like eat all the time. And I got a bunch of steaks and there was this girl named Emily Penton and she had terrible MS to the point where at 40 she had to move back in with her parents. She had like delayed and slurred speech where you can't even understand what they're saying and stuff. And she fully had like the brain lesion and stuff like that, like diagnosed terrible MS. She was dying. And she told her story. I saw her the first time I saw her was on Michaela Peterson's podcast. And she got steaks and she would freeze them and she would chop them up into little frozen cubes. And it was like easier to digest that way, just frozen. Anyway, I started doing exactly what she did because I would eat like probably one steak a day that was completely frozen and raw. And then I would eat other things that weren't completely raw. But
How do you eat frozen steak? Like tiny little cubes, like pill
Yeah.
size that you just swallow?
yeah, it's a good way to, it's an easier way to get a lot of the fat is like the most important, especially if you have like something wrong with your brain. Like the fat is the most important part for your brain. And that's like a big part that people avoid. And like, even though I love the taste of fat, it is difficult to like eat a whole bunch of cooked fat, but there's something like chemically different about it being frozen. It's not like that greasy, sloppy mess. So it's like actually once you get over like the mental of it being, I mean, not like super duper hard frozen, but like freeze it, leave it out for a little bit, and then it's just like little cubes. And it's almost like, it's also like flavorless. So I took it like medicine instead of like, oh, I'm enjoying my raw frozen steak right now. It was just like a flavorless way to like get it down so it could heal me quickly.
Like taking vitamins.
Yeah, and it didn't. It being frozen doesn't make you feel sick. Like if you eat a bunch of cooked fat, you're probably your body's not used to it, you're probably going to shit your pants. But this is just a really easy way to do it, and I did that for a very long time, probably one a day, and then added all the different stuff in, fun stuff, liver and all that kind of shit. But for the most part, just steak.
Why do you think that worked for you? Like, I mean, you've listened to all these different podcasts and you've gone through it, changed your health from basically dying to completely different person. Like, what is your analysis of why that worked?
I think the number one, if I was like diagnosing what I had, number one, it would be chronic inflammation. Just because all the psychiatric stuff was eliminated as well. All the pain, all the physical pain and all the psychiatric stuff. And I also have like, some people are like, oh, you had horrible depression. Maybe it's just like in your, like, it's kind of almost offensive, but it's like maybe it's just in your head how much pain you're in. No, I have like a paper trail of how much pain I was in. I used to have to go get shots because I had really bad TMJ. I had to go get, and it hurt so bad all the time. It made me not even want to talk to people. And the pain would like travel down my neck and it would make me throw up, like migraines and stuff like that. And I would go every 3 months and I would like save up every dollar and go get Botox in my jaw because it like eliminates it's really helpful in like eliminating the pain from it. But like I have a paper trail of that, of like the last 5 years of going and doing that and wasting my fucking money doing that, even though it was a little bit helpful. But what was the
why do you think it worked?
Yeah, inflammation.
Oh, yeah, inflammation. I think probably also another thing people always think is like, oh, you got off of like the worst diet ever and then went more clean, and that's probably what it was. I wasn't on the worst diet ever. I was eating what people say is healthy. I was eating stuff from Whole Foods that says you know, all that kind of bullshit on it. This is better for you because of this. I was eating all of that stuff and I was still dying. But I think that the number one thing is probably the eliminating seed oils. I think they're the devil. I think they're killing all of us legitimately. I think that it was causing inflammation in my brain and making me insane and it's causing all of the pain and stuff like that. And then incorporating the most nutrient dense thing on the planet, which is red meat, in my opinion. Just like healed me and got me muscle and changed my life.
Which is interesting. I was listening to Paul Saladino, and he was saying, even though some of the research says seed oils aren't bad, he says what's happening, and I may fuck this up totally, when you take these seed oils in, a lot of the nutrients you take convert a lot of the food into omega-6. And that is the thing causing the higher amounts of inflammation. And that's exactly what you're saying is you were super inflamed and probably, you try to eat, even if you just eat tortilla chips or whatever, anything that's probably in a bag's probably got seed oil in it.
Yeah.
It's been processed with some kind of crazy oil. And thank God RFK just got put in office. He got confirmed.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. It made me cry. I literally, like, seeing him, there was, I don't know what it was, some summit or meeting or whatever the fuck, just a couple weeks ago, and I saw him, it was like on Instagram, and RFK like walked up to like Paul Saladino and like Jordan Peterson and all these people, and it was the people that literally saved my life in like 2021, and I was sitting on a couch being like, I mean, people fucking knew who they were then, but it was like a lot smaller, and whenever I talk about them then, it was like, oh, that hokey like meat doctor, and now like the man who's in charge of America's health is like shaking hands with them because he knows, he like sees the validity in, what they believe in and what they've done and stuff like that. It's so fucking meaningful to me because I've also been like bullied and told that I'm a psychopath for everything online that I talk about, but like especially the health stuff, like get bullied from fucking everybody.
I get the immediate reaction because when you first hear it before Carnivore just like started to just come into the consciousness of America and stuff, at first you're like, this is another insane diet. It's just the opposite end of veganism. But then I did a similar thing to you. I listened to Michaela Peterson's TED Talk, her like really long talk, and you really listen to all the things she went through. And she's still been doing it, 6-7 years, had kids, 1 or 2 kids on it. And you're like, how do you argue with that it worked? Like you can't argue, like maybe you can't explain it all right now, but it's working.
Yeah.
It's working for a lot of people. Clearly it's working for you too.
Yeah. And I'm not I'm not one of those people that's like, I think that every single person should only eat meat, like, and that's the only way to be healthy. But I do think that like probably in our natural state, we were, I think it's the same reason why like fasting and stuff like that is also good for us, even though I don't really have the willpower to do that very often. But like wouldn't we be like killing something big, eating a bunch of that as much as we could, and then like moving on and not eating for a couple of days and then killing something big. And then every now and then when we got hungry, we're like, here's a berry or whatever.
Yeah, you would eat a ton of meat at one time, and then you'd eat some fruits and veggies to sustain yourself for energy until you got more big servings of meat.
Yeah. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. And all this stuff, I mean, but then like it depends on how much these people are suffering. Like if you're somebody, I know that if I'm 100% carnivore, which I'm meat-based right now, I eat about 90% meat and 10% other stuff. But that's just because like I have a social life. If I wanted to feel like fucking Superman, I would just be carnivore all the time. It's insane. Like the change that happens in your body, like once I was healed, then just like feeling it, it feels like you are on focus enhancing drugs. It feels like my body clock is so weird whenever I'm fully carnivore. Wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning every single day. Like do not go to sleep until maybe 2 o'clock in the morning because you have so much energy. You have so much energy that you kind of can't sleep. But then when you are sleeping, it's like the deepest sleep of your life and you sleep like a fucking baby. It's insane. And like the muscle that you put on, Jordan Peterson has talked about it before. He's like, I put on I think he says he put on like 25 pounds of muscle or something like that at like 55 or something at the time. It's insane, the amount of muscle mass that you put on too, like eating that much meat. It's crazy.
That's good to know about the sleep thing because I've attempted it before. And that was the thing that always made me go back is I started not being able to sleep. But you're saying once you do sleep, it's hella restful.
It's hella restful. Yeah.
Hella restful.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It'll make you sleep like a baby. I think it's just your body has to like get adjusted to it or something. It's like just having a whole bunch more energy and stuff like that. And
Do you do fruit or honey or anything like that? Or
I do now, yeah. But whenever I was like in the throes of healing, I didn't fuck with any of that stuff.
Was it mostly raw that you would eat, or did you cook your meat also?
I cooked it for the most part, but I always try to incorporate raw because it's the most nutrient dense way that you can possibly eat it. And like, especially if you're trying to heal something, like if you were to have a brain lesion, I don't know if I did or not, then I would, you want to ingest it the most nutrient dense way as humanly possible.
How would you suggest, say someone else has an autoimmune disease and they want to get into this, but
or just feeling like shit at all?
Or they just feel like shit. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they just feel like shit in general. But it seems unreasonable to just go completely raw meat diet right now. Like, what are the steps you would advise someone to slowly work their way into it and start feeling better one day at a time?
Della's 101 Carnivore.
The first, this is me in my comment section all day long. The first thing I would do is never ingest a seed oil again ever in your entire life. Just look at every single label and make sure that you're not fucking eating those. Because no matter what your diet is, that's going to be, it's the worst possible thing. I have 100 people reach out to me every single day with different stories from big to small. My knee hurt. I stopped eating seed oils because I saw that and now it doesn't hurt anymore. Just shit like that. So I would stop eating seed oils. You could start with one meal, not OMAD where you're only eating one meal a day, but like one of your meals thrown into whatever it is that you're eating. You could do meat with just a meat meal as one of your meals in a day. And I feel like that's an easy way to start because anybody can like, depending on when you get hungry in the day, like wake up and eat a giant steak because it's delicious. Yeah, I would start there. And then like, depending on how good you feel, you could move forward or whatever.
Okay. I have a question that you may or may not have an answer to. Maybe nobody has an answer to this.
Okay.
And I also have no data to support why I'm asking the question either. So here we fucking go. But I've noticed that autoimmune diseases are most commonly had, at least from my experience, by women. Like most of the time when someone says I have an autoimmune disease, it's usually, or like I have really severe symptoms of an autoimmune disease, it's usually a woman. Have you guys experienced that, or am I just living in my own bubble? Because my sister has it. I know a ton of other women that have it, but it's rare that a guy is like, oh yeah, I have these insane autoimmune symptoms.
Yeah, I would say it's more, just judging by the people that I've met and stuff. It seems like more.
Do you think it's because they eat less meat, or do you think there's something else involved?
It could be because they eat less meat. That's the only thing that comes to my mind. They eat less meat and they probably lift weights and stuff like that less.
Yeah.
Maybe like a general interest in health is like a little tiny bit less. I'm not 100% sure, but
yeah,
it certainly seems like it.
Well, let's just force everybody to eat more meat.
Yeah, exactly. Have you been eating at any good places while you've been in Austin out here?
No. I
just eat raw meat at home.
I really have. I've been in I was in a World War II bunker, so I had my Airbnb.
Trying to get cooked.
Yeah, I didn't have I try not to get into the habit of going out of town and then I just start ordering food from places. And it's not good for me and it's very expensive. So I just, I went to H-E-B and I got some steaks. And I had my first Airbnb, I didn't have a kitchen. So I was just eating raw beef out of the refrigerator. And then now I'm going to start cooking it because I just got an Airbnb that has a kitchen. But I really want to go to
Local Pastures.
I do want to go there. Yeah. That looked good. I looked it up online whenever you sent it to me. I want to go there. There's one. I looked that up. That looked really fucking good.
They have an incredible bone broth.
The Well
Get the bone broth.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I open Seed Oil Scout. I'm not sponsored by Seed Oil Scout. I just fuck with their program. I wish I would. And the one that was blue, which means it's actually has their seal of approval, was the Well. And then there was a whole bunch of other restaurants though. There's one I want to go to called, I thought it was pronounced Daidoo, but I guess it's Daidoo. Yeah. I want to go there. It looks really good.
Yeah, there's a bunch of amazing spots with really good meat out here. Do you ever get any of Force of Nature stuff?
What is that?
So Force of Nature is it's like a collective that only gets meat from regenerative farms. So it can get elk or venison, and the meat is super good quality. It's amazing. And there's a local farm out here, Rome Ranch, where they get stuff. So they have
Cool.
like a ground. It's called a harvest blend, where they blend 25% liver and heart with it, and they have like bison and different stuff like that. So if you ever want just a bowl of ground beef, it's amazing. It's like dark purple. It's so
I've seen that
fresh.
stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. Have you thought while you're here of jumping on stage for a comedy set?
No, I don't really do stand up anymore. I need to. I just have I have a really weird relationship with stand up. I don't like I don't know, man. Like I turned around. A lot of it also just had to do like the timeline of life. Like I probably would have, if one day had been different, I might have gone down that and been like crushing it right now. But I got so sick and I hated where I was and I hated LA so much. And like I didn't feel like myself and I was so mentally ill and I was going and doing this thing and I'm so proud of it. And like in the amount of time that I worked on it, I did make a lot of progress. Like
Yeah, you did very well in comedy for a very short span of time.
yeah, I made a lot of progress at the time. It was just like, I don't know. Then it was like quarantine happened and and then like I moved and I started to heal and I was so sick nothing mattered. I couldn't do stand up. I was too fucking sick to do stand up. I like thought that people were plotting against me. I was completely out of my fucking mind. And I kept being like, I'm going to do it again. But then I healed and like, I started to like care about myself and like myself. And I was like, I don't even know who the fuck I would be on stage anymore. Cause what I used to talk about was like how gross and dumb and ridiculous I was. And I was like, I don't really feel like that about myself anymore. So I don't know who I am because it was like so self-deprecating that I don't even feel like it was like very healthy. As weird as that sounds. And then I don't know. I'm 33 and then like I had turned around and like I had spent and I wouldn't change it for the world, but like I turned around and I had spent a decade of my life like couch surfing and moving from here to there and da and working a job during the day and then you hit the pavement at night going to open mics and that's the only fucking recipe to do it. And it was also like kind of before everybody started like exploding online and posting their sets and stuff as much. And I don't know. I just like one day I turned around especially after I healed, I turned around and it had been so many years and I was like, I haven't even gone on a date in like 7 years. Like if I ever want like a family or anything, like I'm going to have to do something else. I can't just like be in a dark room with a bunch of dudes at 2 a.m. For the rest of my life. I just can't do it. And I'm not hating on it. I love it. And I'm also like Jekyll and Hyde about it. Like I fucking love stand up so much. I love, I love the art of it. I'm obsessed with it. I think about it all the time. But I probably will do it again, but maybe this time I'll just do it like the bitch version where you get like an audience online and you invite them somewhere to do it. Cause I'm so tired. Like I'm a 33-year-old woman now. I'm so tired of the grind of it. And I know that that's like bitch. And it's just like some people want it more than me. My friend Rachel Wolfson, she just starred in the fucking, in the Jackass movie. When I was with her out there in LA, like I would go to 5 open mics. She would go to 10. She wanted it more than me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she's in the fucking Jackass movie. And I just didn't, I don't know. I don't like I love the feeling of like, people that don't do either one of you do stand up? No? Okay. People think like that don't do stand up or whatever. They're like, doing stand up is like being brave enough to get out in front of an audience and tell jokes. And it's like, you have to get the audience there. You have to have the audience to even give a fuck about you being there. Like you are so lucky to even walk out on stage and there be people in the fucking audience. Like that's what's so crazy about it to me. And like doing those open mics and stuff like that and you go and you fucking tell these things that mean so much to you and there's literally not even anybody listening. I mean there's not even a chance of making anybody laugh. There's 3 people, a guy with a gray ponytail that hates you and somebody turned around and someone like this in a chair and you're just like, I don't know, it just crushed my soul for so long. For those little uppers of like doing a good set in front of people that you deserved and stuff is really fun. But I also I started off doing stand up. Like I moved to LA to do stand up. I had never even been to an open mic before. I just like went to the Comedy Store on vacation one time and I was like, I can't believe that's a job. I want to do that. So I like made enough money working at a restaurant and I moved to LA to do stand-up.
Who did you see perform that night when you decided this is what I want to do?
Oh, fuck. Honestly, the one that was most profound originally was Della, even though I fucking hate him. Yeah. It was Chris because he was so fucking funny and it was so different than anything I'd ever seen in my life. I was just like, I can't even believe this. And then Rick Ingram is a store regular. He like opens for Chris Rock. He's like a comics comic. He's so fucking funny. He does crowd work, but it's different every single time. It's the funny shit. It's not hacky crowd work. Rick Ingram is so fucking funny. I saw Sebastian Maniscalco that night. Absolute murderer, like a prodigy, not of this world. Yeah, it changed my fucking life. But when I remember what I was going to say. When I first started, I was like, I had a little bit of a following online, like at the time, which is like absolutely nothing now. But I had a little bit of a following more so than like these other people that I was starting off with, and I wanted to gain the respect of like the older comics around me and not use that at all, even though realistically looking back, like they probably didn't give a fuck. I just like didn't know who I was and stuff, and I didn't want to look like some dumb bitch that like is going to try to jump ahead doing something. And so I even deleted my accounts then, and I remember like getting a flip phone, literally. This was in like 2017, because I didn't want them to think that I was like trying to, I don't know, like trying to do it like the easy way or whatever. And so I like did it the old school way, and I didn't ever get anybody's in audiences with like the what little following and stuff that I had. And now I'm like, fuck that. I will get bodies. I want to do it the dumb bitch way now. Like, I'm not trying to be a stand-up anyway, but like just to scratch that itch, I would love to do stand-up for like some of these people that follow me online and actually care if I'm alive, instead of like just getting older, like fucking telling jokes to a chair.
Yeah.
I would love to see you on stage. You have a gift for ripping on people. And I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons I found you. I was like, oh my God, she just no holds barred.
Yeah, you can talk a lot of good shit.
I love
a good shit. Yes.
When you talk shit about liberals, it's awesome.
I wish that they would let you do that a little bit more online, but they won't let you. That's why like one of the main things I do is I just I put like music to just their profile, but I would love to be able to like rip into people more, but they'll delete you for that shit. So they're like hate speech and stuff, even if you're not like super duper mean.
Have you tried it on X to see if, because they let a lot of shit fly on.
I should do that. I should do that on there. Yeah.
I also think X, because Elon's trying to make it eventually the everything app, he's really trying to grow it. I think it's in its infancy stage. Starting to post on there, I think, especially with what you talk about, would fucking launch.
You're totally right. X is it's the new thing for sure.
Yeah. And I would love to hear her go harder.
Yeah. It's the place for you. Like you're not, like there's literal porn on X. There's no limits to what you can put on there.
Yeah. It's what everything is awkward at first. Like, but you know, when you're like, hello, and there's no one fucking listening, like everything is awkward at first. So that's kind of how I am with X. Like, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing right now on there, but
I bet you could funnel some of your Instagram followers.
Yeah, I should do that. You're right. I do. I try to post, like if I post on Instagram, I try to throw that video up on X. I don't do it every time.
I think X is Wild West right now. I don't even think the app knows what it wants. Does it want a minute video? Does it want an hour video? Does it want an article? What, like, I don't think, it's just chaos at the moment. So I think you just let it rip.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm into that. I don't know. People, there's this, I don't know if you know who Ronnie Radke is. He's like a rock star who like got canceled during the like COVID for his political views. And anyway, he does that. Like someone leaves him a comment and he fucking just absolutely, and he's super like conservative and stuff, and it's really, really funny. He absolutely like makes them want to kill themselves. And it's so fucking funny. He's like the king of it. And I don't know how he's getting away with it. He's posting it on TikTok now. I guess he's got some sort of, he's so famous, so he's probably got some sort of deal with them now because they canceled him during quarantine and like deleted all of his platforms and stuff like that. And now he's selling out stadiums, 100,000 people every single night. So I feel like they're just going to let him do whatever now. But I would love to be anything. But I feel so like, I feel so silenced. These people, and like now on Instagram, like I had a girl tell me to kill every single day somebody tells me to kill myself. Every single day. Yes. I just asked my buddy who's got 1 million on X. He's got 2.5 million on TikTok, and he's got 600,000 on Instagram. I was like, just to get like an idea of how what is like a normal level of the amount of hate that I'm getting for like, because I feel like
how many death threats should I be getting on
What's
average?
my death threat to comment ratio?
That's what I said. I was like, because I have nothing crazy in comparison to this guy. His numbers are out of this world. I was like, how many people tell you to kill yourself in a day? And he was like, literally 0. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess it's just me then.
Why do you
Cool.
think you get so many death threats?
I don't fucking know, dude. I mean, they don't like, they don't like that I talk about politics, and they don't like that they don't like the carnivore thing. They think that I'm an animal murderer. And I think some of them also are just, I don't know.
I think what it is online, people flock to someone they can hate.
Oh yeah.
And so it like gives a certain energy to that person when they hate. And so you're collecting this energy of people, but they're just pushing you forward more to people that really love you. I was listening to a podcast today, and they said that 80%, if you're doing it right, 80% will either be neutral or hate you.
Right.
To be able to find the 20% that love you.
Wow.
You need that fuel. I mean, look at Hinchcliffe. Getting canceled was the greatest thing that ever happened to his career. Like, sometimes you just need a ton of hate, and that's your fuel.
Yeah, that's true. I go in there and like, I don't know, in like the comment section, if something starts getting crazy, I go in and fucking block people. I'm like the queen of blocking people. But I know
That's good,
some
though,
people,
because you don't need that shit.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, what are
If
you
it affects
supposed
you,
to
then
do? Like,
you don't need
yeah. Some people just collect the, the algorithm is being boosted even by hate comments and stuff like that. And I try not, I don't know. I try to get them the fuck out of there, but like sometimes it's just a sea of them, and you like can't really help
it's
it.
actually the best thing you can do. You're putting them out of their misery because they would just keep following you and driving themselves into insanity.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
obviously not very big yet. The podcast is really just getting started, but we're slowly starting to get some hate. Every now and again, we get a little bit of hate in
It
the
brings us
comments.
so
Hell
much
We
yeah.
joy.
love it.
Yeah.
We go troll them, and it's the best.
Hell yeah.
And we know eventually it's going to get old, but right now it's like the fresh smell of hate in the morning. Like, it's still
Yeah.
fun, you know?
Yeah.
It's exciting and novel.
Sometimes I wonder if, like, because I'm so used to this now. I've been like, I was going live on an app called Stickam when I was 15 years old. So like and they were literally telling me I was old and ugly when I was 15. I remember it specifically. It's ingrained into my brain. And so it doesn't really like, I almost never get a comment that, you get like a little heart jump if something actually bothers you. That never, it's like water off a fucking duck's back. But I also wonder, like, is it probably not good for my brain still to like read this just constantly? I feel like there's an iPhone in my head, but whatever. I mean, it's,
Fuck it.
yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
For
It's
now,
also
fuck it.
other jobs or whatever. There's stuff that isn't good about those. So
Honestly, at the end of the day, if it all got too crazy, you could always delete your account, and within 3 months, people will forget about you.
yeah.
People just move on to shit so fast.
Yeah.
And so you always have an exit ripcord.
Yeah.
If you really need to. So you can always keep
just
that in
burn
mind.
it down.
Yeah, just fucking burn it.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
I'm curious, you grew up in Dallas. Was your family like liberal growing up?
We've been in Vietnam too long, and now he's pronouncing it family.
Your family. Vietnam. Sometimes I can't speak English.
I grew up in a town called Poetry. It's like an hour outside of Dallas. It's like literally no one there. I grew up on a quarter horse ranch out in the middle of nowhere, and then I like migrated more towards Dallas whenever I grew up a little bit. My family is conservative, and whenever I was in LA and I started going out of my mind, I started becoming a liberal just because it feels so surreal now, but like it was my reality. Like there wasn't, I don't even know how to describe it. Like I have sympathy for some of these people that come after me, even though I didn't go after anybody, even in my most mentally unwell state. But like I have a lot of sympathy for these people because sometimes it's your reality. Like I didn't realize it when you turn on the TV that that's bias. Like I was like, everybody that I know, even the people that I looked up to, like I was out there for 10 years, my bosses, like we would laugh about how stupid Trump was. My peers, my bosses, the people that I looked up to, like big comedians, every single person thought the exact same way. So it was just like, this is how we think. I never even thought to question it. And they're like, Trump is retarded. He said this. He looked into the sun during a fucking eclipse or whatever. Like, he's retarded. And we're not, and we're elitist, and we're smarter than everyone. And I just thought, I guess that's me too, because I was super mentally ill, and I didn't really know to like. But it's crazy that once I healed and I got like mentally right, and I wasn't emotional anymore, like I operate from like a place of logic and not emotion, I became like super red pilled. So
I mean, they did such a good job when Trump announced he was going to run. Before that, everyone loved him. Loved the guy. He was the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
And then same with me. You're like, if the mention of his name, you didn't know why. You were just like, oh, he's like you were even afraid to just even say any good quality about him.
You've been conditioned to hate him.
But you didn't even know that you were conditioned that way. It wasn't even until my friend who served in the Iranian military, who was a buddy of mine, we worked together, would slowly say stuff about him that he liked, but so gentle because he knew like I was so programmed in my head. And then slowly I would sit down and just watch stuff and go, maybe I should listen to hear for myself and actually figure this out. And you're like, whoa, I have been indoctrinated so hardcore.
Yeah.
Everyone. And that's why you get such visceral reactions to people, because it's like they're in a cult. And when you're in a cult and you say your God's not real, their whole reality, you're threatening it.
Yeah.
And so they have this insane emotional reaction where it's like, well, look, I've been on both sides. I'm just like, listen to me. They can't listen.
Yeah.
It makes them go cuckoo. And then now they got, shaved their head, blue hair, doing all kinds of wild shit.
How do they have blue hair if they shave their head?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
Okay. Liberal logic right there, bud.
Liberal logic.
It's true. That's a big hatred that I get is you were never liberal. You were never a liberal. And it's just like whenever you leave the cult of veganism or whatever, you were never really a vegan because you didn't do it right.
And in my mind, liberal means to be liberal in your thoughts and ideas and like freedom and to be able to do whatever the fuck I want. What flipped me is when COVID in Seattle and they shut everything down and kept shutting shit down, but they still had weed shops open and alcohol stores open, but I wasn't allowed to go train people in the gym.
Yep.
And when I would try to even mention that to anybody, they'd look at me like, oh, don't tell me you're hiding the Jews somewhere. We're going to get in trouble. That's how it felt. Like, I'm going to no. Like, we're going to get killed if we even talk about this. And then I was like, oh shit, this place has gone fucking crazy.
Yeah, you realize you're in a loony bin. You're like, everybody's fucking crazy. Because being a liberal isn't bad. Liberals used to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, we were all probably in the same ideology of liberals and liberalism because it was like, let people just do what they want. Like, that was being a liberal. We're liberal with our ideas and thoughts and beliefs. And then what became a problem was leftism.
Yeah.
It's like insane communism style, like groupthink, hive mind of you guys need to do what the government says.
To me, to this
Yeah.
day, what is so
Not
funny,
being a liberal.
tell me what you think about this. In Seattle, you had a lot of punk rock, alternative, grunge, and you had a lot of that still kind of growing up through our 20s. And that was like Rage Against the Machine, like Rage Against the government. But then now I'll see people who are like punk rock alternative and they're promoting what the government
wants.
And you're like, do you guys realize you're a fucking shill for the fucking Communist Party? Like,
I know.
What the fuck? This is not alternative.
It's so funny.
Take your goddamn leather jacket off with fucking studs on it.
Yeah.
You cannot be
You
wearing
haven't earned
that.
those studs.
What the fuck?
Revoke your studs
Get
right
out
away.
of this dive bar. What are you doing?
I just said that just the other day, and someone in my comment section lost their minds. She was like, you have no idea what punk rock is.
No, you fucking don't.
And I was like, okay, but listening to the government is not punk rock at all. Like, that's not punk rock
complete
whatsoever.
opposite.
Yeah. It's crazy.
You can't be anti-establishment and then be like, hey, you should listen to the establishment.
Yeah. And if you think like, it's so crazy looking back on some of that like ideology now is just so wild. Like, even even just a couple years ago, one of the last things that I like got on the bandwagon with, which I don't know enough about because I don't have like kids, so I haven't had to dive into it, but like is vaccines and stuff. And like just the fact that like if you question what they're stabbing into your baby, you're an ultra right-wing extremist. It's like, why can't you question that? Like that's such a weird thing to like be. I'm not anti, but like it's such a weird thing to be we were literally indoctrinated to believe this. I had a friend that would like come to my shows and stuff sometimes, and every now and then she would say something because she has a baby. Every now and then she would say something about like the vaccines. Like whenever I was super sick, she was like, "Well, you could check out like this about the vaccines." I know that mine wasn't vaccines, and I was just like, "Oh, that idiot," in my head. And now I'm like, "Why did I think that? Why?" Like I feel like I don't know. I was unfairly brainwashed.
Yeah, like where did that come from? Same with the COVID vaccine. Like everyone becoming so angry that you didn't get it. You're like, oh, so this drug company that came up with it in hyper speed when it takes 10 to 20 years to run trials on a drug. And a lot of times it still can fuck people up. I mean, look at the opioid epidemic. And you're that trusting to a drug company immediately, but I'm not allowed to go to work. I'm not allowed to go to the beach. My buddy had 3 kids. His like 1-year-old always had to wear a mask for almost 2 years in Seattle. That's super healthy. No talk about anything other than, no, you got to take this drug that this company is going to make a ton of money. Trust me, it's okay.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting to have people that it really showed, I don't know, people's fear, how much it kind of pushed people to just, I don't know, follow what the government said. And then you had a bunch of outliers that, like, I'm not going to listen to this. And having friends that have gotten like the shot and a couple boosters, and now seeing them look at everything and be kind of like, oh shit, I probably should have did a little more research.
That's me.
You did?
I got him. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I wanted
Get the fuck out of this room right now, Della.
I wanted
get your toxic blood out of here.
It is honestly, it plagues me every day that I got it. But I was convinced that if I got it, that our world would go back to normal. And I was convinced that if you don't get it, that you're retarded, that you're putting people in danger, that you're putting your family in danger, that if you get sick, you're going to die without it. Like I was convinced of all those things. So I drove very quickly to, I think it was a UCLA parking lot, and I got it. And I fucking wish that I didn't.
That pisses me off, that they basically bullied people into it through fear.
That's what they did. They really did. And then, yeah, everything in LA was, LA was like, I lived in West Hollywood. It was like fucking communist China during COVID. It was absolutely absurd. The first day of COVID, I tried to go on a hike, and they bolted my car into the hike with actual with big metal chains. And I ended up having to drive through a ditch to get my car out. And they were arresting people if you walked around with more than one person. You were getting arrested, literally. You had to wear a mask everywhere you went. Yeah, beaches were closed, parks were closed. I just in 2023, the people that I got fired from for being a Trump supporter, they were still making their kid wear a mask. And it's been since, they're making him wear a mask still in 2024. And there was not a single day that I had to wear a mask. I had to wear a mask when I was in the car driving. I had to wear a mask, and they would watch me on camera. So it wasn't even like a restaurant. If I was like, where you're wearing it and then like you can maybe like go into the back and secretly breathe a little bit, I had to wear it all the time without even adjusting it because they would watch me on cameras and make sure that I was wearing it all the time. And one time he saw me take it off in the car when I was with his kid, and he screamed at me for it for about an hour. And whenever I wasn't nannying, I was working at this warehouse. It was like a 55,000 square foot warehouse because they have a production company. And I had to wear it alone, even when I was alone in the warehouse. In a 55,000 square foot warehouse, I had to breathe my own air onto my face. Yeah. And if I took him to soccer practice out in the middle of a field in 110 degrees, I had to wear my mask, and he had to wear his mask. And he's going, it felt like child abuse. Seriously, every day. It was like traumatizing watching this kid have to he was the only kid in the school. His dad was immunocompromised to be fair, but at the same time, immunocompromised people have been around forever, and they weren't making their 5-year-olds wear masks. No one at their school has ever seen his face a day in his life. He's like the cutest little boy. He's never one day talked to any of his friends. Do you think what that's doing to him psychologically? That he's never had a conversation other than just right here. It's insane.
Yeah, as a kid, you're picking up how to understand emotions so much by reading the face.
Yeah.
And that's a huge developmental time for the kid's brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awful thing to do. It'll be interesting to see how these kids turn out as they grow up into adults, this period of time that fucked them all up.
Yeah. Do you still stay in contact with that family or that kid?
No, I nannied that kid with the exception of like take a break, came back here. But technically, I pretty much nannied him from when he was 6 months old on and off until he was 5. And he was I would take a fucking bullet for him. And they know that. I've never had a scratch on him. I've been in a foreign country with him before, just me and him on the streets of London and stuff like that. Like, how often I understand it's a common job and it's not neuroscience or whatever, but like, I don't know that many people that I would trust to watch my dogs, let alone your child, especially in a foreign country. So like the value of that and to throw it away because I'm not going to call people Zim is insane. It's insane. They called me every name in the book whenever I put out some of my thoughts like online and they got traction. Like I made a Trump video last year, and I made a video about Rittenhouse and stuff like that, and they told me that that I'm wrong. I'm on the wrong side of history. They're moving towards a genderless society, and so I'm wrong about that as well. They told me that Trump is the Antichrist. They told me that Michael Cohen is their lawyer. They would always threaten me with that because Michael Cohen is the one that stabbed him in the back and, jumped on the money train to made up a bunch of bullshit about it. And also, like, I'm not a lunatic. Like, I don't think that these politicians are I don't think that they're, unflawed. I don't think that any of them haven't done some weird shit for sure. But like, am I going to fucking vote for Kamala Harris? No. That's insane. But yeah, they fired me for it.
Well, you should have just believed in the genderless society, Della.
He literally said those words to genderless society.
What does he even mean by that?
It was during a point where he was just like, I guess it was just the most bitch thing I've ever heard anyone say in my entire life. Just like thinking about that. I've also heard her say, and I've nannied I heard her say one time to the little boy whenever he was 2, she didn't like push it on him. Otherwise I would, even as a liberal, I would have gotten out of there. But I did hear her say to him on a couple different occasions, like, and so, and you're a boy, but if you want to be a girl, you could also be a girl. She would say that to him at 2 years old. And I just thought, this is fucking insane. And then, I also, I was a babysitter on like the weekends for a woman who's honestly very sweet. Like, I don't think that all of these people that end up pushing this stuff on their kids are terrible. I think some of them are coming from they think they're coming from a good place, but it's actually just very flawed. But I babysat for a woman for like a year, and it was twin 8-year-old little girls. And one day when I came to work, all her hair was shaved off and she was going by a boy's name. And then now, like, I've looked back to see like how that kid is doing, and they've clearly got her on testosterone because she like has facial hair and stuff like that. Yeah, and it couldn't be a day over 14.
Jordan Peterson's been quoted something along the lines that what they're doing to kids now with the hormones through their puberty years is almost worse than concentration camps in Germany.
Yeah.
It's because people don't understand, once you change them as they're like 12, 13, 14, they will never experience any pleasure. You basically just castrate them.
Yeah.
And I bet you soon there will be a documentary with detransitioners coming out, because I think there's a lot of children that are being just mutilated. Can you imagine you're 12 years old and your parents are telling you like you could be a dog or a cat or a girl or a boy? You're like, I barely know what the fuck's happening in junior high.
Yeah, if you told me at 9 years old, hey, do you want to be a girl? I'd be like, sure, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Like,
I know
is that
nothing.
a thought I'm supposed to have?
Yeah.
That,
you implant the thought. You're like, oh, am I supposed to want to be a girl?
I don't even know if I want to play
guy 100%, so sure, I'll be a girl.
Am I supposed to play soccer or basketball, and now I have to maybe be a girl too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
And there's even, I mean, I grapple with, like, I know there has to be a cutoff, I guess, somewhere, but like, I grapple with whenever they're like, okay, I guess 18. I'm like, 18? I didn't know who the fuck I was when I was 18 years old. You could be mentally ill and isolated at 18 years old and not have any, I mean, I know there have to be like some legalities in regards to it, but I just like, you're not even a fucking adult at 18.
But at least 18 is consistent with other things.
Yeah.
Like at least you've, like, cause you at 18, you don't know everything, but you can make a decision for yourself like, okay, if you can choose to have sex with somebody at 18, you can probably make some other decisions, but it's the fucking telling your kids to do it that's crazy.
What was the podcast clip I sent you of the two guys talking about, or maybe you sent it to me, where if I'm allowed to give my boy estrogen and hormone blockers, can I also give him steroids? Can I make him more of a man?
Yeah, it was a comedian. It was a comedy bit.
He's so sorry if I'm quoting your joke, but so fucking funny.
Yeah, he's like, I should be able to, if you can give hormone blockers to a kid, why can't I give hormones to a kid?
It's the same
give my
fucking
kid a
logic.
bunch of tests and get him jacked up.
My kid feels like he should have amazing biceps right now.
Yeah, my kid should be able to dunk a basketball. He identifies as an NBA All-Star. Credit to whoever this comedian is. I don't know who it was. Sorry, dude. But
we are so sorry.
Funny.
Yeah.
We're having a huge, I knew, years ago this was going to fucking happen, but like we're having a huge influx of these people that are regretting what they did already and regretting what was pushed onto them by their doctors, pushed onto them by their parents. And a lot of them, even like their parents were semi-weak and like pushed backed into a corner and told, if you don't do anything but affirm this, then their kid is going to kill himself and it's going to be your fault. And like, there's a lot of people that aren't mentally healthy enough to withstand that. So they just go, okay. And then Jordan Peterson has talked about it before, but like it's the ultimate, like now that they've made that decision, they're the kind online that like really, really like go insane and rip into you and stuff like that, because now they've made this ultimate choice to their child that they're going to let them transition to another gender or whatever the fuck they're going to do, or pretend to be another gender. And they've made the ultimate sin. And now they have to pretend, even if they have that doubt, like they feel that way for the rest of their lives. Because if they go back, then they're the ones that committed this cardinal sin against their child. So it's fucked up.
It's the same as a pasteurized pastor, that thinks that is super anti-gay, but is super gay.
Right.
Like the gays are the devils. And then he's been fucking tons of dudes on the back end. But he's so committed.
In his back end.
He's so committed. He's just...
he's like overcompensating.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They have to be for it.
It is a trippy gray area though, because I know some trans people who legit are just, they're like, I was the wrong gender. And they just did it. They did the thing. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. Like, there's nothing wrong with making a decision and like props to you for committing to a thing, but trying to just convince kids, that's where it gets real fucking wonky.
Yeah, I'm down for a dude that wants to be a chick.
More chicks, cool.
Yeah, Thailand's got it figured out. Ladyboys, some of the hottest
women I've ever seen have been ladyboys.
Yeah, dudes. But when you go to Thailand, ladyboys will say, I am not a lady. I am not a boy. I am a ladyboy. I know I'm not a woman.
It's their own thing.
I'm just a man who really likes to look this way and feel this way, but I know I'm also not a woman. They have it all figured out over in Thailand.
Yeah, which is funny because you say ladyboy here and it's such an offensive term and they'll come after you for saying ladyboy. Like, no, in Thailand, it's its own gender. Like, they have pride in being ladyboys.
Yep.
Yeah, one of my favorite people that like advocates against this shit is Buck Angel. And Buck Angel is a trans man.
Sick name.
Who's like 64, I think, years old. And he's done like profound, like leaps and bounds in that community. He interviews these people that regret it and different people that have went and got behind their parents' back, went and got put on hormones and stuff like that at like 16 years old. And it immediately caused like irreversible damage to them. Yeah. It's funny that it's like, I try not to even say that shit anymore because like it goes so much without saying, but I used to like beat that into people's heads. If I said anything about trans people, I was like, but I don't have a problem with trans people. And it's like, no shit, dude. I'm not a terrible person. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm friends with Nikki Norton, Jim Norton's wife. She's fucking fabulous. I love her. I don't give a shit what adults do, you know? Do whatever the fuck you want. But like, they're pushing on kids and they're doing it because it makes them money. And that's disgusting.
Right. Yeah. But you're right. There are a lot of trans people that are against the indoctrination of kids.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
They're everywhere. I was actually nervous. I met Jim Norton's wife, Nikki, at the Comedy Mothership here last year. And I was nervous because me and Nikki immediately broed out like so hard. Like people were being like, are you guys on cocaine? Even though I don't like cocaine. People were like, are you guys on cocaine? Because we just like hit it off so well. Like I just thought she was super funny. She thought I was super funny, and we were just fucking going off. And it got to where we were going to exchange like social media. And I got nervous a little bit because I was like, oh, she's going to hate me because I post about like Trump and shit like that on there. And I like waited for a second and I was like, I'm scared. And she was like, what is it, sweetie? She was like, are you a Trump supporter? I don't give a fuck. And I was like, oh, okay. And then so we like exchanged stuff or whatever. And then we went on because I was a little bit more comfortable in the conversation. She fucking thought everything that I do. And she's standing there as trans as they come. So yeah, I think that's another thing. It's like, it's almost like a propaganda push. Like, well, it is a propaganda push, the way that they're like, they call you a phobe, which is like, you know, they call you a phobe repeatedly because it's like if you speak up against it, you just hate all these people because you're terrible. And it's like, I don't fucking hate any of these people. I don't care.
What is phobe? Does it stand for something?
Phobe?
Phobe?
Like you're a transphobe. You're a fat.
Phobe.
You don't like fat people.
Phobe.
You're a, you know
that was
what I
like
mean?
a fob, like fresh off the boat.
No, they call you a phobe of all these things, and like they've completely dissected the point of the word. The word, it doesn't, that word doesn't mean that.
Yeah, we're not afraid.
Yeah. They keep calling everybody that, though, that speaks out against it. And it's a funny way of just like diminishing like whatever point you were trying to make.
I have a random question. One time I think I saw you post that, was it your dad? You grew up shooting guns at a very young age, like 5 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up on a farm, and my dad, I have like a very, I don't know what it would be. I don't know like the technical part of guns. Like I don't know like the names of things. I don't know the name of guns, stuff like that. But like I know gun safety and stuff like that very well. We would do like, if my parents were like going somewhere by themselves, when we were going to be at home by ourselves, they would do like drills. We got acclimated to like holding guns and stuff like that when I was like 5 years old. Legit. So yeah. I have one.
What was a drill?
Just like know where it is. They keep it on. We had like revolvers and always keep it on an empty chamber in case you like tossed it off or whatever. It bumped something and like would accidentally fire because you've heard like horror stories about that. Just like where we keep it, what we would do. You know, if somebody broke in, immediately run here. Here's where the gun is. Here's how you shoot it. We would like go out on our property and like shoot different things like cans and old pumpkins and shit like that. They taught us stuff like don't aim for the head because you're probably going to miss, like aim for this area and stuff like that. So yeah, I got very comfortable with it whenever I was like very, very young. And I've always had a gun. And I thank God that I've had a gun. That's why I've been able to like be single and move all these different places and stuff like that and not feel like I'm going to get like murked all the time. I always keep,
especially with all your new fans.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for real. Jesus Christ. People are scary.
Was your dad in the military or was he?
No, he's an ex-con though. My dad he grew up robbing banks. It was before my time though.
Fuck yeah.
He was a bank robber from Kansas City. He worked for the Mafia, and he wasn't in the Mafia, but he stole cars for the Mafia, and he wrote a book about it.
Give it a shout out. What is it?
It's called Burning Bar. It's on Amazon. Burning Bar is the tool that he used to like crack into safes and stuff like that. But so he was a big gun guy and a big gambling guy and stuff like that. So I was around him my whole life.
And still, so he like turned a new leaf, or is he still robbing banks?
No, he turned a new leaf. He turned a new leaf even before my time. He got put in prison for 5 years before I was alive, and then he got out and he went to. He didn't have a whole lot of options because he was completely dirt poor, and he went to beauty school because he was like, I can go there, and there's also a lot of women there, and he was like extremely handsome, like he looked like.
Is he Italian?
No, he's not Italian. He's what are we? I'm just super
what are you?
white.
Norwegian of some sort?
White. I'm like Irish, English.
Okay.
And yeah, he went to beauty school and like that's where he met my mom and stuff like that. But we're super pro guns and gambling and all those things.
He's probably got a pretty interesting outlook on life.
Yeah, he does. My dad's my best friend. I mean, my parents are divorced now, but they're still best friends. Like call each other and talk on the phone and stuff like that. And they don't live too far away from each other. And my dad is like my best friend. He's super, super weird. We have the same, I guess, a little touch of autism or whatever.
Watch these two riff on each other. It'd be awesome.
We got to get you and your dad here on the podcast. Have
He would love that.
father-daughter day.
He's a real ham when he starts talking about the shit from his past. I mean, he was really he
robbing banks and shit.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
he was very much Ray Liotta.
Does he ever read the comments? People say fucked up shit to you, and is he
No.
like, I'm gonna go.
He's-
I got some
Old-
contacts
yeah.
still.
20-year-old him is coming out.
He's 76 now.
Yeah, but he knows some people, I bet.
Yeah, he knows some people.
You can call in a couple favors.
My grandpa knew some people.
Oh,
He knew
yeah?
a guy named they're all dead now, but he knew a guy named Virgil who would kill people for you, and he would feed them to hogs. The hogs will eat the bones, so they'll never find them.
The laugh afterward.
It's true though. But one thing I like about that, I don't like murder or anything, but like one thing I like about that is like having homies that you trust that much, you know? That's like very rare now. You can't tell anybody anything because everybody's such a bitch. But that's like kind of where I came from. I have that like ingrained in me because my dad is that way. Yeah.
Yeah, friendship, loyalty.
Yeah.
And that's a cool fun fact. If you ever need to get rid of some bones, you just need hogs.
Yeah. Hogs will even eat the bones. That's why you never find the person. That's what Virgil used to say, dude.
Fuck with Virgil.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't say that if he was still alive. I wouldn't rat on him, but
Yeah,
he's not alive anymore. So
that's fair then.
yeah.
Well, Della, this was super fun,
This was fun.
and I hope you move out to Austin. And
I think I'm going to.
yeah, I'd love to have you back and shoot the shit more, and maybe bring your dad on. It'd be super fun too.
Oh my God. My dad will drive here 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, we 100%.
Yeah, we
will have him on.
1,000% want you and your dad on the show.
Yeah, we will. It would,
He would fucking love that.
yeah,
Oh,
I want
Every day he's like, you got more followers? Have you told him about my book? And I'm like, fuck.
yeah, let's see the tisms just go back and
Yeah,
forth.
let's do it. Where can people find you and see more of you?
I'm at Della Dream on Instagram, on X, and on TikTok. But TikTok fucking sucks. Can't say anything on TikTok.
Why is it changing? Yeah.
Chinese
Anyways,
communist app.
Yeah.
please think about doing a set and letting us and just doing it soon. Just even
Okay.
if it's I would love to see
I would
her
love
do
to
a
see it.
set. I would love to see it. In Austin, please do it.
That means a lot to me. Maybe I will.
Yes.
I'll get my people that are following me.
We'll
Maybe
shout
on
it out.
front row.
We'll bring people
Yeah.
for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We could just do it at the barbecue place. Just stand up on a bench and fucking let it.
I've done
Have
it.
you ever heard about these goddamn liberals?
I've done it at way weirder places than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Laundry mats, places, people's living rooms. Like, yeah. It gets
Fuck yeah.
terrible.
Bus stops.
Yeah.
It's just-
dude.
I love listening to comics, like early comic days of like the places they've done comedy. It's always the most random fucking shit.
Oh, dude, yeah, they're everywhere. What, libraries,
Library.
stand up
I've
at a
heard plant
library.
store.
Yeah,
library,
plant store.
Just whispering
At-
Yeah.
racist jokes.
at delis, while like little Jewish guys are trying to just eat their fucking
And you're just
matzo ball
telling Holocaust jokes.
What's with the Jews?
soup. Yeah.
All right, Della.
Okay.
Thanks for being here.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, Della.